So a couple days ago, a small Easter egg was brought to my attention. When you go over to the main fountain in Fontaine, where apparently all the water converges, you would hear this.
So interminable. So lonely. Just how much longer?
It's always the small details that seem to have the most important lore implications, but they are very hard to figure out. However, today I would like to present you a theory, and that's all it is. It's just a theory. It's all for fun. I could be totally wrong, but I think that this would narratively make sense, and it just fits. First detail we want to point out. This sounds like it is coming from Farina. The voice actors is either the same or very similar, and that is intentional. They wanted to point out that this is Farina. But when you look closer into what she's saying, it doesn't really make sense why the actual Farina would say these things. She would never say she is lonely. She has plenty of people around her, and she seems comfortable enough to talk to its people as she is the Archon. Why would she say she is lonely? And why are we able to hear it only here? I would like to go back to my current belief that something is alive in the water and the actual water has a consciousness, and that is why it wants to swallow the people. And this line seems to support just that. This whatever thing this is so lonely. It cannot wait to just have people, and I believe that is the reason why it is dissolving them. It wants to be with its people. Notice how I say its people. So yes, this is Farina, but just not in the way that you might think. One of the coolest thing about Fontaine so far has split its theme of two sides. This split thing, we see it in Farina's design. The different color of her eyes, the different gloves. We even see how she has two personalities. That has even been like observations where people say she does have a split personality disorder. But that goes beyond everything. There's two separate systems of power. There is a very huge theme in Fontaine about this splitting. And what if I were to say that the splitting is quite more literal than you mean? I believe that the Archon is split in two, and that the consciousness that has all the Archon powers and everything to, be deemed an actual Archon is stuck within this water. And it wants to rise up and become one with the vessel of the body that is the current Farina. So yes, the current Farina as we see it is an empty shell. We know that Celestia has been silent after the cataclysm, and I believe that the original Hydra Archon knew this. I believe that they knew that Farina would not be able to rise to godhood, and they know that the effects would be this kind of split thing where she would not be able to, and eventually the powers would swallow the city as a whole. The water wasn't dangerous before Farina came into power because it had no reason to. There was nothing that wanted to dissolve its people. In fact, it was quite the opposite. It was nurturing life. It's always the little designs and the little clues that gives us more about the story, and that's why I like to focus so much on them, because if they were not the main part of the show, they wouldn't be there. I don't believe that these details were added in for kicks. I believe they are super important to the main story. This is simply my version and the way that I see it. I believe that this split personality kind of thing makes sense. I believe they wanted to convey this very literally. This theory just seems to narratively fit the best. It would explain why Farina seems like such a non-Archon, why she doesn't seem to have much of any powers. If anything, it's still very unclear as to what's really going on. I would just like to throw my ideas out there, and maybe that gets you to think about something. Maybe you would come up to some new conclusions and some new ideas as to what's really going on. But yeah, this seems to fit my narrative perfectly. It would finally put a question to what's really going on. It will finally put an answer to what's really going on with the Archon. because that was always one thing that always seemed weird. My past video talked about more about the water thing and what's... Now, do I believe that this voice is the same voice that Lenny heard in the machine when he went to go it? I am not sure. That is the one thing that I've been wondering. It does seem to hint that yes, it probably was a voice. This consciousness could very easily be the reason why the machine is powered, because like I said, I believe that that is the Archon kind of powers hidden within the water, and if the water is powering up the machine, then it would seem to make some sort of sense. That is how far as I got. I've been thinking about this for the past couple of days. This is just what I landed on. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And yeah, thanks for watching. And as always, stay safe out there.